And welcome back to another show where we hit you with quarter by quarter of sports information. Of course, this is season 3, episode 303 with your main man in the house, the one and only Coach Tony. And this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. So you need to do a couple of things for me as we get started tonight. Make sure you share the show. Make sure you like the show. And more importantly, make sure you subscribe to the show. We have been flying. We're over 50,000 views and counting. I want to thank each and every one of you guys over the last year that's really been making the podcast a big hit. But now I need you more. I need you to continue to like the show and make sure the people that you know, make sure you watch us. You know, we got 2 guests tonight, not one, but we're going to hit you 2 times. Pow, pow. And one of our guests, I definitely want to say thank you because he's international and he's up way past his bedtime, but we appreciate him. And that just lets you know how good the Pull Up Podcast Show is. And my other guy coming to you from the South and the East territory of America. But before we bring him out, Val, you know what to do. Let's drop it.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up.
Man, every time I hear my nephew's track, I'll just be ready to bounce. But it's the Pull Up Podcast, it's the Pull Up Podcast show. Hey, thanks for checking in. Bella, baby, what's good? I'm going to need you on tonight. Make sure you get on these people tonight for me. Bella, ask a couple of questions. They coming across the water. You may want to go over to Italy yourself. So you know you my girl. So you make sure you ask a couple of these questions tonight. We got a few other people checking in tonight on the Pull Up Podcast show. My first guest, by way of New York City, coming in, playing basketball at Quinnipiac. Back in the day, number 18 draft pick in the NBA, played in multiple teams, went overseas and did his thing for years. I'm not going to spoil it because I'm going to let him tell you where he went. And my other homeboy come out the Midwest like me, a little east of me over in Cleveland, Toledo area, by the way of Miami, Ohio University, doing the same thing, played a little international, and they got a little something they're doing right now to help some kids get back across the waters. So without further ado, let's bring on my boys tonight. Coach Richard Laurel and my man, Eric Newsome. Welcome to the Pull Up Podcast show. Pull up on me. E, what's good, baby?
What's happening, man?
Man, Coach Richard, what's happening?
I'm doing well, man. I'm over here. I got to get you about that New York thing. I'm from Philly.
Philly, I don't know why I said New York. No, I meant
if I did not do it, if I leave Philly out, I'm in trouble.
Right, I already know that.
Okay.
Hey, and thank you, man. I know you way past your bedtime. You be kicking them Z's right now. And just to let everybody know, Richard's coming to us live tonight internationally from Italy. So, man, that's much love. But before we get started tonight, fellas, and I know y'all heard the sad news, man. We lost a great one earlier, man, and George Foreman, man. We lost him today.
Big George.
Big George is phenomenal, man. And, you know, anything you guys remember good about him?
Yeah. I had the pleasure of seeing them fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I went to see George Foreman fight Joe Frazier too. It was in the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. So that's where Hofstra University is.
Oh,
so
okay.
Players were doing security. You know, they was paying us very well to do security. I think we got $500 a piece for that. But I had a chance to meet him. Good man. You know, great brother back then. So, you know, motivated. He was a motivational guy. Very religious also.
Yeah. Ian, what about you, babe?
Yeah, I started watching him when he made his comeback because he was a little older. So when he made his comeback when he was about 45, remember when he won the world championship?
Oh, yeah, when he came back the second time, right.
Yeah, and I was
who did he knock out then? He knocked out a young dude like 20 years his age.
Michael Moore or somebody like
Michael
that.
Moore, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to follow boxing big time back then, you know, with Spinks and all them guys and that all the way up to the Holyfield days. And then after them guys retired, then that was, I lost interest,
Say about the same way about me.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Stewart's crew. Michael Moore was from the Crocs Gym, Detroit.
Yeah.
Stewart's crew, so he was a good fighter. I saw him on Today giving George praise. YouTube. So it was a nice thing. He had some nice thing to say about Big George.
Man, that's good. My homeboy from the Chi, speaking of good thing, my homeboy Southside, in the house, Kenwood High School, my boy Rob Speller checking in, said, what's up, fella? And Rich, your family checking in, man. Family, Miss Pat Green. Hello, Patty Patsy. Hello, that's real family. Richard from Philly in the house. And of course, my boy Coach Justin Allen, my sidekick, keep my AAU program running. He's the one that's Coach E. He's the one that we got these players. We're gonna start sending down to the schools. So we're gonna load you up with some of these Tennessee kids we got. So we're gonna let it know. So let's jump into it, man. Let's get into the business tonight, man. Coach Rich, we'll kick it off with you. Can you kind of set the way for a lot of the stuff, man? Kind of give the people a background with you coming out of Philly, what years, high school, and all that background with us.
Okay, I went to Overbrook High School in Philadelphia. A lot of people know him from Wilt Chamberlain. Was the biggest player. That we have 21 people out of that school that made the NBA. Okay, so it's known as a legendary school. I was a late bloomer, though. I went to prep school, which is the kind of system that Coach Newsome runs there, and it did me well. Okay, I came from an all-stater, wound up being All-American, and signed my first letter of intent at Kentucky, but changed my mind. My parents changed my mind, really, so I stayed Northeastern, went to Hofstra University. 3 good years there. Didn't have a sophomore year, had a knee operation, so that was out. So wind up junior year averaging 21, and did my senior year 31, and wound up putting Hofstra on the map. We made the NCAA tournament twice. So I still have a record in these tournament, matter of fact, to this day.
Oh, wow.
I'm not too proud of it, so I won't say it.
But right.
Look it up. They can look it up and see. It was against Notre Dame. From there, got drafted by Portland. Of course, Jack Ramsey was there, and he's from Philadelphia. Always used to follow me while I was young and stuff like that. So I went there and then was traded to Atlanta and dealt with Hubie Brown for a year, which was a whole different. It was like going to Mars.
Right.
Literally. Okay. And then from there, finished with Milwaukee and played with Don Nelson.
Okay, the famous Nelly Nels.
Yeah, good man, taught me a lot. And that's before I went overseas and started playing in Italy for 4 years, 3 years in Monaco, 2 years in Greece, a year.
Okay. We're gonna chop that piece up. I ain't gonna let you tell that piece yet. We're gonna hold that because I got some questions on that. We're gonna chop that one up. E, what about you? What's your background, baby? I know you came out the Midwest side of the house with me, man. Tell the people where you from.
Toledo, Ohio is where I played my high school basketball. And then from there went on down to Miami of Ohio and joined with Ron Harper. He was a
Harper and the crew.
Yeah, Harp. In fact, my senior year of high school, I went on a visit down there and stayed with him and Ron Hunter, who's a coach at Tulane right now. Those were my hosts. And going down there, I really wasn't really all sold on it, but the what they did as far as hosting me and all that, when I got back home on the plane, that's Sunday night, I told my dad that's where I want to go. And then the year before, now my senior year, they were like 13 and 15, and they were in their 5th straight losing season.
Yeah.
I joined them my freshman year. They only added me to the rotation, and we went 24-6. And
they still playing in the barn to this very day in the middle of the cornfield.
Yeah, Oxford, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Richard, I'm telling you, he'll tell you drive, and all of a sudden, a big ass gym up here out of nowhere. I'm like, man, what?
Big stadium,
big stadium, man. It's crazy, man. But it's nuts. And Rich checking in tonight. Also, Albert Simpkins said, "What's up?" He was making sure you was gonna put Philly back on the map, man. He wasn't gonna let you get out of here unless you put. Yeah. So that's good on there. That's your.
About 5 years old.
Oh wow. Okay. That's what I'm talking about right there. Now that you guys are coming out, you're sitting in Miami, Ohio. Newsome, you sitting up, you get a chance to play. Of course, everyone know back in the day there was big D Hop's territory. Went on down to
Yeah.
Ohio State and did
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
like that. As you finished up in Miami, Ohio, what kind of options did you have at the time?
All right. Well, when I left Miami, Ohio, just to let you know, I left out of that school as the second all-time leading scorer in the history of the school,
Oh
right
wow,
behind
okay.
right behind Ron Harper, and we played
Hopper,
together
yeah.
for 3 years. So I went to the USBL.
Yep, I remember
Went,
USBL,
went
yep.
went to the Long Island Knights. From there, I made the all rookie team. Played alongside a guy named Stuart Granger. On that, he went to Villanova, played for the Knicks.
Hmm.
And from there, went to now it's the Las Vegas Pro League, but went to the LA Pro League at that time and played with the San Antonio Spurs. And from there, and I ended up being the fifth leading scorer in the whole summer league that summer. And got on with Cleveland Cavaliers, and got cut or I got cut when they made a trade right before the season started. Uh, Lenny Wilkins had called me in his office and said, "Hey, we're making a trade. We're bringing in Darnell Valentine, who was a 10-year vet out of
Yeah,
Kansas."
I remember Donnell.
Yeah, Darnell came in from Portland, and Lenny said, "Hey, you're only a rookie." And then I was bagging up Mark Price, who was a 1 year ahead of me,
Shooter.
and we had a whole veteran team. So he said, "We're gonna have to send you down to the CBA, which is
Yeah, I
the
remember the old
G League."
CBA. Just Isaiah ruined it.
Yeah, yeah, and then so I went down. He said, "I'm gonna send you to Henry Bibby." So I went to play for Henry
Coach
Bibby
Baby.
in Tulsa, and ended up winning the CBA championship that year. And
Man, that's
then
awesome.
left and got went overseas, um, to Varese, and then came back, and then went back to the CBA team in Columbus, and then went over to Ostende in Belgium. Ostende, Belgium, and then came back. So I did a lot of back and forth, and
Back
then
and
I got
forth.
hurt. Yeah, then I got hurt, and then I sat out for a while, and then came back through Greg Popovich and them down in San Antonio, because I played for Popovich was our summer league coach when I played for him in the LA Pro League, and
Mm.
so I was able to hook on with them later on. Didn't make the team because couldn't pass the physical.
Yeah.
I couldn't pass the physical. I had a broken, dislocated ankle and broken leg prior years before that, and it didn't meet the strength thing. So I couldn't make it at that point. So
Yeah,
so
you know how
that
they do. They're gonna say thank you very much and thanks for playing.
yeah, they said we can't depend on it. That could give out, and I was bagging up Avery Johnson at that time. Um, so that's it just was one of those things where injury started to you know
Pile up on them.
pile
Yeah.
up on you, and scar tissue and all that kind of crazy stuff. So
Yeah, and Coach Richard, going back to you and in the NBA side of things, real quick before we put you overseas. And by the way, Lisa James says, Jones said, "What's going on, Coach Rich? Great to see you out here tonight." Question came in on that. So when you're looking at the old school style of the NBA, because that late '70s, early '80s, those were what I consider the cornerstone of the NBA coaches. Hubie, Jack Ramsey, those guys that you were talking about. It's funny now to see them depicted on these new shows, the LA Lakers Dynasty show. They had on TV and all that. But being up and close and personal with those guys and getting a chance to play them, which one of those coaches at the time that you played for do you think that you probably either they got the most out of a Richard Laurel or you felt most comfortable playing for?
I think we have to be Don Nelson. I mean, if you follow his career, he worked good with young people. When he was at Golden State, remember he had Bernard King, he had Chris
Yep.
Mullin,
Mm-hmm.
Byron Davis, all those guys. And he also had a young crew in Dallas when he was the first one to get Nowinski there. We gave him a
Yeah,
shot.
Dirk. Yep.
Okay. He did well with young people, but he was a good coach. He taught me a lot. He really kind of changed my thought on being a pro because it wasn't fun no more. He said, "Get the fun out. This is a business." Okay.
I heard that.
You can't fall in love with no coach or like this person because you could get moved tomorrow, and that's what they'll do. So he brought the seriousness of the business to me.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Hey, listen, we get some in-depth conversation here, quarter by quarter of information with my main man, Coach Eric Newsome, and my guy, Coach Rich Laurel. We got to pay some bills real quick. If not, they're going to cut the lights off. Val, let's pay some bills. We'll be right back to the second quarter with your main man, Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. We'll be right back.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. Key Spot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. Key Spot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show with your main man, the one and only Coach Tony, and my guy hanging in here tonight with me, Coach Rich Laurel, and my guy, Coach Eric Newsome. Question came in, guys. Either one of you guys can jump on this. Says, looking back when you guys played, as opposed to the kids playing today, what's the difference and how difficult was it to make it then as opposed to now? Because I tell the kids all the time, and Eric, I know you do because you deal with the high school a lot, you know, we had to write a letter. You remember those? We had to sit down and physically write a letter. Mm-hmm. And hopefully the gatekeeper got the letter through. Or like you said, Rich, coaches that knew you, because you went up to ABCD camp, which these kids don't know about, which was outside back in the day. And you played in Chicago, we had multiple parks that we know college coaches would come into. They come to King Park on 79th Street, end up at 10th Park in Maywood, come down to Foster Park, go down on 31st Street Beach. So there was like 4 or 5 big parks. If you didn't know those parks, then we knew that you wasn't really a ball player that really played in the city. So when you guys were coming through, where were the pickup games at the time? When you guys really wanted to get into the talent. I know in Philly, definitely, man. And, and you were a little bit different, E, because you was in that borderline cusp that could go up to Michigan, or you could stay down and go over to Cleveland. So what was the tough ball players at the time?
During that time, they had a league called the Sandy Sanders Summer League, which was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, right next to University of Michigan. And so you had all the players like from University of Michigan, Michigan State, Eastern Michigan, and then us from Toledo. We would go up, me, Dennis Hobson, Todd Mitchell, Melvin Newbern, those guys, and go up and play against the Glenn Rices and the Roy Tarpley,
Antoine Jobert,
Antoine the Judge,
I tell you that.
the Judge, the Scott Skiles, the Sam Vincents of the world.
Yeah,
and man, that was that was something, because we had we felt like we was always in the shadow of those guys from Detroit and them area. We were a smaller town, so we had something to prove. But we go up there and get with them. With that group I just named.
Yeah. And Rich, I know you sitting down in Philly. You not that far from Temple, so you definitely in the cut.
Well, when I was that age, man, like 5 of us wound up going in the first round 4 years later. Okay, and we was playing like from 16, 17. That's like Joe Bryant, Mike Solinger, Tiki Burton, Maurice Howard. These guys, we wind up all being in the league, but we never thought we would be in the league. So we used to go around to different parks. And then in the summer, we would play New York. With the Rucker League, we played the Sunny Hill League.
Sunny Hill, yeah.
That's when you really got a lesson, because you was playing against World B. Free, Fly Williams, and it was a battle. The big guys against, the big guys, forwards against forwards, guards against guards. So it was very, very good to see so many people that come to your games. It was like a sellout arena. And
in the park, in the hood.
And age, like 16 to 17, to see people out there like that, man, watching your game, seeing people get dunked on, seeing people get crossed over, you know, working your game. It brought the reality of how far you had to go. Some people were way ahead of other people.
Yeah. And the talent gonna show, and you sitting in the rucker, it's gonna definitely show. Coach Justin just had a question. He said, you mentioned a moment ago about Coach Don and all those and the coaches you played for back in the day. You know, now that you coach and now that you recruit and now that you train, you know, was Don Nelson still probably the best person that influenced what you're doing currently today?
That's for Newsome?
That's for you. Yeah.
No, Don
That's
Nelson.
for you. Yeah, he was Coach Justin, my coach here in Nashville said, you know, you mentioned about Coach Don Nelson a moment ago was one of the bigger influences. His question was, you know, did he really influence you in terms of the way you coach today, or did you kind of take some bits and pieces and put your own style together?
I think he really made it very understandable that, you know, this is a professional game. You can't have fun with it. It's a business. Okay, that's the part. So when it's a business, you concentrate on your offensive plays, your defensive sets. You don't want to make mistakes, okay, because they will move you. Okay. Yeah. So you have to learn to play defense on the fly. You have to be in the right position. The stars have to have the ball when they're supposed to, because, you know, I played with John Drew, who was the star of our team in Atlanta, and Marcus Johnson was the star of our team in Milwaukee.
Marcus Johnson, baby.
So basically, if they wasn't on, now you can shine. And you had to learn to do that. You only got your shine if the go-to guy wasn't having a good game.
Wow. Kind of sound like St. John's got put out, pissed me off. I'm going back and forth. Why the hell Lewis is on the bench? Patino, I don't know if he answered that question. I'm a big Godfather fan, you know, and I had him all the way to the Final Four, you know, and you got Lewis Jr. sitting on the bench last 5 minutes. Reporter asked, you know, Patino the question, and he snapped. Said he knows why he's on the bench, and that was that question, and we lost. We're going to keep it moving. What did y'all think about that? Did y'all see that game?
I saw bits and pieces of it, but I saw toward the end. But when he answered that question, he said he played 30 minutes. That's a long time.
Yes, he said he played 30 minutes and with no assists. 30 minutes, no assists. Yeah. And he was 3 for 17.
Ouch. That's probably why he was on that wood.
He did something wrong.
Yeah, that's
that tough conversation, ain't it, Rick? That's that tough conversation.
He knows that he's from the old school.
Yeah.
You do something wrong, he's going to think about the individual and the man. That gets back to what I said about Don Nelson. The individual and the man is bigger than the team and the game if you did something wrong.
Right.
That's like even if you have to sit you. You know, I was with Newsome last summer and he had to sit a kid because he didn't bring his jersey. Now, how can you come to the game and you didn't pick your jersey up? And you still
Rich, that happened to me. I'm at home in Chicago. Shit, you know, this is crazy. We're at home playing a good tournament. One of the probably the top 5 teams in the tournament. And the kid comes out and he's getting ready to play. And all of a sudden, he gets to the game. And this is my star PG. And the game tips off. And the referee comes over and says, what's wrong with my man? I said, nothing. He left his uniform at the hotel. In the meanwhile, a parent was going back to get the jersey, right? So the referee says, let me holler at him. I said, man, do your thing, baby. So he goes over and says, hey, man, let me ask you one question. Do you play ball or are you a ball player? He was like, man, I'm a ball player. He was like, okay. He said, well, why ain't you on the floor? He was like, I left my uniform. He said, you got some shoes? I go, yeah. He says, you got them jogging pants on? And we just make you number 0. You want to play? They're like, yeah. He still sit there. He goes back down the court and says, I thought you was going to check in. We were down 14 at halftime. Kid checked in the game, played 2 minutes before halftime, and the rest of the second half, we went in overtime and lost. And I told him, your fault.
Yep.
Tough loss, man. For
These
you.
Kids, they don't get it. You know, and you sitting down there with the prep school, I know you done seen some crazy things happen. Would you tell us a little bit about where you at, and give us the name of the school you at and where it's located?
Okay, the name of the actual program is called CBA, which is it has two meanings: College Bound Athletes Incorporated. That's the nonprofit part, and then
Okay.
this other CBA is called the Calusa Basketball Academy, which is the school part is located in Miami, Florida, but we actually do our playing and our training in Boynton Beach, Florida. Okay, so and we run a program post grad and high school. We have two high school teams. We have a developmental team, high school, and we have a main team. Then we have a main post grad team. And so it's kind of like a farm system. We keep guys, on average 2-3 years at least.
Okay.
Some longer now because we're going a little younger, getting guys in ninth grade, eighth grade, and they and they go all the way up through the post grad. Now post grad, they used to spend 1 year in post grad. Now they're starting to spend 2+. Because of the rules that are coming from the NCAA,
Correct.
where the kids are now getting older and they're staying longer, so that doesn't allow for my kids to move on as quickly. So they need somewhere to continue to stay, competitive,
Hmm.
and then that's what we provide, and it's really been a big boost, a big jump as far as because there are millions of kids in between high school and college that just floating around out here with
Oh
nowhere
yeah,
to go.
it's insane right now. And a matter of fact, I think the NCAA, Richard, just passed a new rule that you're gonna be able to play college ball till you're 45.
Close, yeah, close,
Man, 'cause let me tell you something.
yeah.
I'm working with these kids today. Just signed 2 new people to my sports marketing agency. Man, I'm really,
Hmm.
really proud of that. And spoke to one of my kids today, and I just told him today, we got the one big word I'm going to tell you on this conversation today is patience.
Yes,
Because
yes.
last year alone, there was 385 kids still left in the portal who never even made it, who made bad decisions. And when I say bad decisions, I want you guys to elaborate on it, meaning that these kids think that because of the NIL money, that they're going to make all this big money. And what I don't like about it is that it's still the 1% or the 2%. The ESPN, the TV commercials, the Juju Watkins, and
Right.
And these other kids, those are still 2% of the people, the athletes that's really making the paper. These kids are only averaging between $650 to $2,200 a month. And that's just keeping it real. So when you're looking at this and what the NCAA has done, they've gotten mad because of the simple fact that football hasn't paid them. So now they're trying to make make the basketball situation, falter through in a similar situation. But the schools are not even looking at what the NCAA doing because they don't even care. But now
No.
these kids have got transfer. They can transfer whenever they want because the NCAA said we'll get back at you by letting the kids have unlimited transfers. So when you're looking at something like this, that's ridiculous. And and you're in the international side of the house, Rich. And I know you and I work with a couple of kids together, and then you down at the postgraduate school. How does that affect the kids that you guys deal with?
Well, first of all, let's say some of the kids that I deal with, Newsome particular school, if I send a kid there, basically he's a developmental player. Okay.
Hold on, we'll rewind that real quick, Coach. Let's rewind this tape. So for those that are listening, Coach Richard's international. So you just can't step in the United States, especially with the new 47th in the office, right? We got a different way to get in the country now. So Rich, break us down the entire process of matter of fact, we're going to do this. We're going to take a halftime commercial real quick because I want you to break this down because I really want the kids to understand exactly how the international to the states rules work and how people like Coach Newsome is very important to that piece. We're going to take a halftime break. Val, let's go pay some more bills. We'll be right back on the Pull Up Podcast Show. Hey, it's your main man, right back at you, coming live here from the Rise Studios. And it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure, if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah. That right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities to get paid, you want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's.
Podcast show, Jermaine Man, Coach Tony, here with Coach Richard Laurel, coming overseas to Italy with us right now, and then Coach Eric Newsome sitting down. We're talking about basketball and how it is. You know, this question is from my homeboy out here listening, Rob Speller. This is for you, man. This is that backdoor pick and roll, because Newsome and Richard, they old school. They know about the pick and roll game. So I'm going to throw you an alley-oop, Rich, but break down again. These kids don't understand the states to international and then international to the states. So the kids that you deal with, one, what do they need to make sure that they can qualify to be in the states to play basketball? And two, what type of institutions do you have to usually look at? And three, when the kids get here, how do you make sure that they stay?
You want to go first, Newsome?
Yeah, I think what the process, and I'll use Rich as a starting point, because Rich will tell me, "Hey, I got this kid from Italy." Okay, he'll send me some film, and then I'll say, "Okay, let's move the ball. Let's get the ball rolling." So in order to do that, the kid then has to apply to the school. Then he has to be accepted by the school. And once that happens, then we go to the next phase, which is I have to send him an F1 visa I-20 is called. Okay. And with that, he gets that. I email it to him.
What's the I-20? Explain what the I-20 is real quick, Coach.
The I-20 is given by the school that allows him to go to his embassy to get a special student visa to be able to come from his country and come here to study. It's not an athletic situation.
Correct.
It's strictly academic. So he will then get that. He'll schedule his appointment at the embassy. He'll go for the interview. Now, you go for the interview, you have to answer the questions correctly. You can't, we've had kids that get denied because they don't answer the questions right.
No, they ain't answer. They didn't listen.
Yeah, we tell them what to say, what not to say. Okay, I've been doing this long enough to know how you get denied. And so once you go there and get that done, they say, okay, you're approved. 10 days later, they send them their visa to them. They're allowed to travel. They make we make the airplane reservations. They fly over, and I pick them up at the airport. I personally pick them up at the airport when they get here.
You that personal Uber. You like, let me scoot up in and scoop y'all up. Let's go.
I'm sitting there waiting at baggage claim. They walk out. There I am. Then we bring them on in. To where we reside and get the process started. But it all starts from guys like Richard. I've got guys like him scattered all around everywhere.
Right.
And basically, it's a referral system. And
Yep.
and I trust those. I trust them. Because they know what we're trying to do and how successful we've been. Even though we're developing a program, he'll tell you we take the developmental kids and make them better than what they are.
Sure.
And we end up winning a lot of ball games and winning championships. So.
Exactly. And Richard, for your part, just break your part about this.
His developmental kids will wind up being kids that will play on the team and contribute.
Right.
Okay? And that's before they get there. they might not be able to walk and chew bubble gum at the same time.
Right.
You know? Because they don't know the game. They know why you got to set a pick, why you got to roll, why you got to pick and pop. What is a pick and pop? Especially if they speak in another language, okay? Because first they got to get the language down. They could be from a French-speaking country, Arab-speaking country, Italian, like you said, Spanish.
Right.
So they got English to get up to par. But when they do, when it clicks in them, that's when you see that, you know, they're going to give you something. That's when they can get scholarship to a school. It could be NAIA. It could be second division, third division. I like Newsome had sent me a kid who is American, and he started out from Toledo, and he was small. He went to his school, and he wound up getting an offer to Old Westbury. Okay, his name is Cullen Leaf, and now he's in the portal because he wants to change and go to a higher thing, which is possible only because he learned how to play the game when he was down in Florida at the CBA. Okay, now he's an American, so he's a different case, but he needed 2 years to develop. Okay.
Well, let me add, Rich. Let me just add real quick. He came to me from Toledo. One of my homeboys sent him, actually Todd Mitchell, and played about 5 to 7 minutes a game. And his high school as a senior was a no one. By the time he left here, he was my leading scorer, taking 22 shots a game with all kind of confidence.
That's incredible. That's incredible. You know, and the thing that goes there, and I'm gonna tie for everyone that's listening. I'm gonna tie all this together. So the other piece is Richard and I. We got together way before the pandemic. I was actually on my way out to Arizona. Had a kid that played ball at San Fran. I mean, not San Fran, but at Portland University in Derrick. And we did some camps. And me and Richard ended up being up in New York City doing a host, trying to get the kids looked at and bringing them overseas to do some major things, which was really good. And the nice part about that is we stayed connected then and brought kids back and forth. So when we talk about the international side of things, we talk about scholarships, we talk about trying to get these kids some looks and trying to do some different things. You know, when you see some of these 7-foot kids and these kids at different sizes, they are coming because of guys like Eric Newsome. They're coming because of guys like Richard Laurel. So the crazy part about it, you know, for the ones that are listening to this podcast tonight, for those that's got young kids that are playing basketball, and unfortunately, these guys right here, they've got kids that are cutting into what you're doing. So the question I want to ask you, E and Richard, is now that the new changes have come about, and Rich, you and I talk about it all the time because I'm sitting at the JUCO side of the house. To me, like St. Jacinto down in Texas when Grandmama and all of them was playing with, and Redlands and all of them, they was major. And of course, you already Newsome with Northwest Florida and Florida's Gulf Coast and all them boys doing everything they got to do. The JUCO is now the new D1. And I'm trying to talk to kids and parents, letting them know to take the time. And if it's a junior college that offers you an opportunity, take that. Because a perfect example, Rick Pitino just said it the other day during the tournament. I have no reason to recruit a high school kid anymore. 1, I'm about to retire. 2, I'm too old. And 3, I'm chasing a national championship before I retire. A high school kid, I don't have time to develop. Unless that kid is what? A top 50. Then that kid's probably a one and done.
One and done. But that's how it's gotten now. But even though you said junior college, for me, I feel a postgraduate situation is just as valuable. JC. Because since they're going to be taking 2 years of their time out and they still get 4, why not do it in a situation where you can start adjusting to taking classes, okay, to being in school, being away from home, being with guys, being, you know, the whole trap, especially if you're international. I always would think that a postgraduate situation builds you for starting to be able to live alone. Because when you go to JUCO, you're going to live alone. Mommy can't do your laundry. They ain't going to feed. They learn how to
We,
cook.
we can't even talk to mom and dad. Sometimes mom and dad calls and I want to talk about this and that. Rich, you already know, and Coach Newsome, you housing them anyway. We
Yeah.
don't even talk to parents, and it's like this coach got a question on the floor for both of you guys. Etymology of words says it's a question for either Eric or Coach Laurel. What is your um, proudest moment as a player or as a coach? What's your proudest moment that you can go back and recall, whether it's been coaching a kid or a group of kids or as a player?
Go ahead, Eric.
Man,
Oh,
well, it's
That's a
going to be
tough one.
different. It's going to be different as a player and a coach, but as a coach, it would be winning a championship, uh, winning the state championship back in 2021 here in Florida. That was maybe our second year of the program, second or third year of the program, second year maybe, and we upset a team called Central Point Christian, which is a big time powerhouse, and that was during COVID year. That was during the COVID, and we played up at the Rock in the
The Rock,
championship.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, they played up at the Rock, and we were underdogs. They had all the fans, and that's where Joel and B played
right.
at the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and winning that as a coach, winning a state championship in high school, is something I never did as a ball player. We just didn't. It was hard. You couldn't do it, and to do it as a coach, that was probably my proudest moment as a coach. As far as a player, there's so many
Yeah.
different. Yeah, I would say the time I broke the Miami of Ohio arena record, which stood for like 40 years. It just got broken this year where I scored 40 against Evansville at a
And the
home
crazy
game.
part about it, you had Zerbiak who didn't even break that record.
No, exactly. And Ron Harper didn't even break that record. And so that was, and that night I had one 3-pointer and one 3-pointer and scored 40. I had one 3-pointer.
Ah, y'all hear that, y'all young people? What about you, Coach Rich?
Well, for me, it would be winning a championship in Europe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, and because it was a different language and a different culture, and to
Yeah.
see how people just magnated to that, just the joy that I brought a whole city, the joy that I brought a whole country, it was amazing. That's why I stayed, because I had more uplifting moments in Europe, especially Italy, than any place else in the world. And then I played in Monaco and went to the finals of the European Cup in Monaco, and that was a joy. So to see like a different culture and be able to fit in and enjoy what they enjoy, because it stays with them forever. They'll never get that.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, I think you hit it on the head. For me, it was during the time I moved to Nashville, which is right before I met Coach, and it was my 2005. I was probably 2 years in to AAU. I had a whip. I was loaded. I was absolutely loaded. And this is at the time that we were going down to Orlando. Remember, this is when
Yes.
AAU had to go to Orlando.
Of
Everybody
course.
went to Orlando.
Everybody.
And we went down, and this is I got a chance to meet Kenny the Jet. I beat your boys, Richard, in your back door. I beat the New Jersey Panthers. And it was funny because the year we went down, I got a group of kids in Nashville. We end up on the front of a magazine here in Nashville called Nashville Sports. And the day that they took the picture, it was funny because I was with a program called Tennessee Thunder at the time before I launched my own new program, 0304. And the outside was getting ready to storm. And I'm the Thunder. So they took the picture outside and they said, a storm is coming. And all of a sudden, we were in there. So we go down first game. We're getting ready to play. And I changed everything because at that time, I was a big Nolan Richardson fan. We give you 40 minutes of hell. We pressing and everything else. And I know Coach Justin and Speller laughing because I never changed anything even when they was on board with me. And the first game, we get beat. And my kids go back and they went off on me. Like, Coach, why we even come? If you're going to let us play like this, man, we go back to Nashville. And I said, you know something? You right. That song, Who Let the Dogs Out? I let them out. And we won 3 straight games, knocked off 3 number 1 seeds by 21 points. Never happened in AAU history. Beat Jersey Panthers, and found out later on my name is on the wall in Orlando, Florida today. And the only coach that was a 4 seed, knocked off 3 number 1 seeds, and went on to win a national championship. And this was at the time that D Rose was at with Mean Streets in Chicago.
Yep.
And all that. And then we came back and won my second one in 2011 with Julius Randle and those guys. We won that down in Little Rock, Arkansas, beat Derek Fisher's team, Arkansas Wings. So it's crazy because the second trophy was great, but that first one was like, wow, never done it before.
Yeah, that was.
And these group of kids just beat the entire country. You know, obviously a little luck. So it just happened to flow that way, man. But that's awesome, man.
Winning a championship is always a good feeling. High school, college, or pro. Okay,
Well,
remember that. That goes down as a historic thing.
and you look at the surroundings around that championship, on how you won it, and how everything was stacked against you, and that type of thing. Because I've won championships along the way, but for some reason that one stands out. Because I know how I felt after. When there was 0 on the clock, we won 61-58.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You remember that?
And they missed the 3 on the buzzer. They would have tied it up. That's
You remember that? I still got the ball in the room with the net.
Yeah.
I mean, like I still, and this is 05 to 25. This is 20 years.
Yes.
So we're gonna try to celebrate this year. And speaking of, we're gonna talk about this combine. What you guys do? We're gonna take our last break of the day, and we'll be right back on the Pull Up Podcast Show with your man, Coach Tony, with Eric Newsome and my man, Rich Laurel. Val, pay the last bills. We can keep the lights on real quick. Finish the show up tonight.
That bill, pay that bill, man.
I've always thought about how my mom has supported me in any creative endeavor. How beautiful was it for your mom to be the superhero in your life and show up in your creative ventures with this book?
People ask her to sign the book more than they ask me to sign the book. Sometimes I step to the side, I take their picture. And, we have to celebrate our mothers. We got to celebrate our beginning. So she comes out with me. Every event, she is there. Even when I tell her she does not need to come, she will show up in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, you coming? Okay. I'm like, all right.
Right. And she got a bottle of wine in her hand.
What in the world? Why are you giving her alcohol?
No, I'm just saying. She showed up in the parking lot. She got a bottle of wine, nice wine. She's going to set it down. She ready for the show, Val. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny part about it is, CJ, I've actually talked to Val. I thought about, writing a book myself called My Man's in Them. But,
I love it.
And look at Val.
My man's in them.
My man's in them. But you got to read the book. You got to read the book. But it's a play. CJ, I apologize because Val should have dropped some old Dub C so you could have came out crip walking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not flamed up right now. I got to hold on. Trying to get me shot.
Going back to school tomorrow, like, I saw you, Miss Charles. I saw you.
I mean, I can crip walk, so please, but I'm kind of, I'm authoring right now. You guys are funny.
I'm here in the fourth quarter here. Welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show. This is one and only Coach Tony. I got my guest in the house, my main man, Coach Rich Laurel, coming from Italy tonight, staying up late. I appreciate you. And Coach Eric Newsome down in Florida. My man, my sidekick, my homie, Chi-Town, Coach Speller says he needs to understand from the two of you guys. We know that we got the NIL, right? We already know the name, image, and likeness is paying these kids. We can see this right now in this year's tournament because, I know you looking at it. This is the first time that really these teams are finally, I feel like I'm watching old Georgetown and Villanova, right? I'm watching old Michigan State and these guys play because they're finally the seniors. So Coach Speller was asking the way that the NIL is designed and the way that it's either paying kids or not paying kids, Do you guys like the way the NCAA did it, or do you think this should be changed?
Well,
And especially because you're still dealing with high school kids right now, Eric, that you got to explain this to them because they're trying to get next level.
Well, yeah, and see, what we have to do is differentiate between NIL and collective. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Don't understand that word.
No. And collective is really what we're talking about. Because you mentioned earlier, you have Juju Watkins and Shedeur Sanders and a few of the high name people, marketable people that get the TV commercial with State Farm. Okay, that's
correct.
That's not 99.9% of the
correct.
Of the athlete.
Those are the collectives that are getting it.
So let's talk about the collective. The collective is I'm a school. I'm university of whatever. Okay, we put $2 million into the pot to divide up among 15 or 13 scholarship athletes.
Hold on, you got backed it up because that $2 million in the pot is going to probably also encompass football.
Well, but I'm just saying for basketball, the football.
Okay, I got you.
Football may have 6 million because they got more players.
Right, I got you.
So I'm just talking about for the basketball program. I'm a coach. I say, well, this kid I recruited, what percentage of my budget can I pay this kid of that 2-3 million? Well, I can give him 100,000. So they say, okay, Joe Smith, I'm going to give you 100,000 if you come here. And I'm going to give the second guy 150,000. And it's just like the NBA. They're dealing with a salary cap.
Correct.
They have so much to spend. They're going to spend it the best that they can to recruit the best player that they can, so I can keep my job as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So amateurism has gone out the window. That's done. There is no more. And what makes me upset is you got guys that went to jail for this 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago for the same thing.
If you haven't listened to my podcast, I had the one and only. For those that haven't listened, go back on my pull up on YouTube, the Pull Up Podcast Show. I'm very good friends with my homeboy Merrill Code. If you guys remember, Merrill took the heat.
Merrill sent me a player.
Yeah, that's my homie, man. Me and Merrill talk all the time. So Merrill took the heat. There was all this, and the FBI had nothing on him, period. And he took the heat and all this. So it's funny that Coach Speller asked this question because exactly what Merrill went to jail for is exactly what they're paying kids for today. And he was the go-between. And I got nervous at that time because we were running heavy Adidas. And at that time, Coach Speller out, he was actually my road dog. We was on the road, man. Shit, we was hitting Chicago. We were going to Michigan. We was in Ohio. We was coming back in a 15-passenger van, man, rolling 2, 3 in the morning. And Bruce Weber and these guys was at Tennessee and these other, they were called. And what would happen back in the day, for those that don't understand it, so the coaches didn't get in trouble because they would have to turn in a phone log at the end of the month to show the calls they made. Mm-hmm. So, but what they would do, they would call AAU coaches like me because they can say, hey, I call Coach Newsome, talk to him. I never spoke to that kid. But then you could call the kid up and it was 3-way party call, but the phone call the school would see would only be to Coach Newsome because there was a 1-way call.
Can you believe that? And now look.
Now they trying to control this shit because there's so much money flying around. Rich, what you think about this?
Well, I'll tell you, really, I wish this was happening in our period.
Exactly. When the real ball players were, we had some real.
That's what I think about that. I was like, why did it happen 30 years later? Because it's paying for these young boys to get paid like this. You dug a grave. That being said, I like everybody to get paid, period.
Okay?
But I think it's putting a handicap on colleges because you got the young kids getting paid and you got the older kids in the portal getting paid. So basically you got the top and the bottom. The bottom to me would be the young boys.
Right.
You have to be a one and done guy. But you could pay them like you pay Cooper Flack or from Massachusetts they're going to Brigham Young. I forgot his name. That they gave millions to go to Brigham Young. He's one and done too.
Oh, yeah. The kid is getting ready to go to Brigham Young. Yeah, he one and done.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The kid from Massachusetts that's going
to I know exactly what you're talking about.
His name is AJ.
Yes.
He was even on First Take. You see what I'm saying? He was at the Olympics sitting in the first row. That type of thing. Cause he's got like a couple $1 million from Brigham Young, BYU.
Right.
But I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm happy for that. His parents is happy. They brought a new house. They traveled with him. They brought a house out in Utah, be with him for that year. And they get out.
Right.
So, it's just that I wish everybody can get it. But then if you're a basketball player, you got that feeling of you got to earn it too. If you're a bad dog, get paid. But if you ain't, shut up.
Right, shut up. And you can see it in the tournament right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at Auburn, right? With Broom and these guys, 5th year senior. They said that the starting lineup in the SEC, even though they ruled on everything, the starting lineup in the SEC are junior, senior, and post grad heavy. And you're going to start to see this again. You're young guys. Listen to this show tonight. If you're not one of those top 50 ESPNs, or you're not, with a Coach Newsome at a post grad that's going to, collect and open some doors for you, you need to take the best opportunity there is, because these coaches don't give a damn whether you're playing D3, D2, D1. Look at Robinson at Miami Heat. He started the D3, went to D2, and now he's with the Heat, making millions of dollars because he could shoot the basketball, and they found it.
Years, 90-something million for 5 years. But remember, these older guys have already gotten paid, and they're getting paid again because they go in the portal.
Yes,
and they
go in the portal. And the coach figured, I'll take you for 1 year. I know you're a screw up and you played for Coach Newsome, you screwed up, but I'll take you for 1 year because that 1 year could land me a championship, and then my coaching contract could be 40, 50, 60 mil.
Yep.
You can make $1 million in Villanova, win it with them, and you're a senior, and decide to stay in, and then maybe sign with Kentucky for another.
I seen the kid that did that out of Princeton was with Kentucky last year. Remember the big kid, the shooter.
And that's just what Calipari did with Arkansas when he took them boys are getting paid in Kentucky.
Oh yeah, they getting paid. Man, he took Wagner Jr. He took Wagner Jr. and all these boys with him. He had to, and they getting the money.
All that is well and good, and I'm happy for all of them because I want everybody to get paid. So I don't have nothing bad to say about it, and hope there's enough money to pay everybody.
Yeah, and the question on the stage for you is etymology of words says, looking at you, Coach Richard, if you had an opportunity to go back in time to talk to a young 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old Rich Laurel, what advice would you give him back in 78, 79 that you learned over the years?
My first things that I would say is be worried about the people you have close to you, even family, okay? Because everybody wants to ride. Yeah. But when you're down, there's nobody around.
Yeah.
You see me? So you have to look out for yourself. And I say that, and I don't want to, but, look at Kobe Bryant's situation with the Bryants. When it's enough.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody should always be thankful for what you get, but don't be greedy because you got somebody who made it. Okay, somebody who made it and all like that. Everybody looks out for family anyway, or friends or whatever like that. But then again, sometimes you can't, because sometimes you might not have gotten that love to get that far. You had to earn that all on your own. And that's like, let's say LeBron coming from a fatherless house. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant coming from a fatherless house.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these superstars had a household like Stephen Curry, where his father was in the NBA, so his mother and father was around, he went to games?
So that ain't the story. We don't care about that, right? People don't care about that because that, to me, that's the great story. But to the most, then that ain't no story because that's too easy, right? They want the mama that's been stripping, the old man that's in the yard doing 25 to life, and the kid out here taking care of his sister and his niece and don't know how he's getting his next meal, and that's the story. And it's always happened to be in our neighborhood.
Right. It's always going to be a wrong and right to that, because when people make money, people change.
Yeah.
And when you're young and before you do that, you have to know who's real, even in family.
Yep. Even in family. Who's
real and who's not real. You have to know who you can keep around, who will be trouble, who will get you in trouble. For example, John Morant. Okay, those type of
That's
people, those type of family members, you can't keep around. But if you
Yeah.
surround yourself with people like LeBron did, his crew from
Right.
high school, look what
All
all them
5 of them getting paid, and you never heard anything negative about LeBron, man.
never, and all them guys are millionaires in their own right.
And they all his homeboys, he kept them close to it, and that's
All
I
LeBron
love.
put them in school
Yep.
and the rest on their own.
Yep,
Okay.
and said, "Hey, I'm gonna give y'all paper, do the rest of y'all." Speaking of doing something on their own, you two guys are about to do something really big, and I'm sending my guy George Stanberry down, sending my guy Jamari Rivers, and my kid that you guys are gonna love, and Cam Scott. Tell us a little bit about the combine that's getting ready to come up next weekend. What the combine is, and how important it is for the guys that's going to be there, and the opportunities they got on the other side. Either one of you guys can take that.
Okay, I want Newsome to talk about the first part, which he's doing, and then I'll finish with what it's going to be when they come over to Europe. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's actually this Saturday, and
Val, put that. If you got that flyer, Val, put that flyer so everybody can see that opportunity.
Yeah, this Saturday. And basically, what we're doing is just bringing, hopefully, some talented kids in that we can see that get an opportunity to get a job overseas, i.e., the Europe portion, the Belgium, France, Croatia leg of the trip, and then there's a tour going to China that Rich is basically running there, where they go play in the Chinese Basketball Association for about 2 weeks, 6 games or so, and they will be paid. It's a paid tour to where they will make money on the tour, and both of these legs are basically job interviews. Okay, you'll be playing, and it's a chance, something that we never had, when I was growing up. If they had this, man, this would be something. But it's a chance just to come in and we select, who we think and can get a job, because Richard's over there and he's dealing with the FIBA general managers and team presidents, and he knows what they're looking for. I know what they're looking for. So we just have to, hopefully the guys that you're sending, not only basketball wise, but what kind of people are they? I'm gonna be looking at, are they good people? Will they represent themselves, their country, their family in the right way? It's not. I don't want somebody that can just play basketball and not a good kid, go over there and embarrass you and this, that, and that.
I tell them, don't mess up my name. I tell them before I send them to you.
Right. So that's what we're doing this Saturday, and then Rich is gonna take it after we decide on who's who and what's what, and then we go to the next leg, and the next leg is the actual job getting phase. And I was over there with Rich 2 summers ago, and I went to France with him and Belgium, and it's the real deal. I mean, they team GMs are sitting right there, trying to sign you. So if you do anything, you're gonna get a job. So, but you got to be, mentally prepared and physically in shape, and you have to represent yourself.
Right. And Coach Rich, you're part of it.
In short, Tony, it's going to be a hell of a 6 weeks. What it is, it's going to start out. They get there, they get to Italy, and they'll be practicing in the mornings in Italy and playing games in the evening in Croatia, which is basically 45 minutes to an hour away from Trieste, where I'm at. So in the mornings, they have a chance to let Italy people see them, just in practice, okay? And those are big jobs.
Yeah.
Okay? And then Croatia is a beautiful country that has medium jobs. And medium jobs is anywhere from 30 to 50,000.
Right.
Okay? And then we go to France, which jumps up to 300,000 and starts at around 30,000. Great jobs. First division, second division, and third division. Then we go to Belgium for a week. All these places are a week.
Yep.
Okay. And then we come back and we have practice for a week. And then we go to China for 3 weeks. The China thing is going to start because once we do get the 12 together, we have to get copies of their passport, put that all together so we can send it beforehand so they can get visas. They're going to do everybody's visa as a group. It won't be done individual because they'll never get in. Okay, there's rules to the thing basically from the static they had with Ball when him and UCLA came over there. Kids got in trouble.
Right. Yeah, it was crazy. I remember that.
So your group has to be responsible, stay together, and you have to listen to your tour guide or the chaperone who's taking you places and all of that. Yeah, you can go sightseeing and all that type of stuff, but if you're getting in trouble, you're on your own.
Yeah, you really want to stay close to them anyway, how it is, because it's once you wander away and you do something, you on your own out there.
Every player, if he gets approached by a team, let's say he gets approached by a team in Croatia or he gets approached by a team in Belgium, the thing is to make an oral agreement with the team, but to keep the option open because China pays 3 times, 4 times more money.
Correct.
Okay. So, and all the Julie Gims and coaches come and know that. So the coaches in France and Belgium and Italy and China knows that to get a signed agreement, they have to wait till the tour is over. Everybody who comes on the tour has to stay on the tour until it's over.
Yep.
That's your commitment.
Yep. So if you're going to go over and be a knucklehead and you can't take it and you worried about this and that, then don't go. So that's why I'm not sending those type of players over, man. And listen, I appreciate you guys. I mean, Coach Rich, man, you've been in the pocket for a minute. I'm glad I got an opportunity to connect with you. We're going to be doing some big things down the road. And before we get out of here, I got 2 questions for you guys. And I'm going to give you mine in the end. Who you got winning it all in the NCAA tournament? I need to know, starting for you, Coach Rich, who you got winning it all?
Wow, that's a tough one. But I think it's going to be Duke.
Okay. All right. Coach E, what you got?
Oh, man.
Well, hold on. Go back to Coach Rich. Who they going to beat?
Auburn.
Okay, going to beat all. Okay. Let's go with you, E. Who you got?
Man, I'd like to say Michigan State, but I know
stop that.
That's a dark horse. That might,
That's right. Stop that.
But Michigan State, they play that D, they play that ugly basketball, they play that defense. Defense travels. So, but I don't want to go with the favorites with the number 1 seeds because everybody goes with that. I'm an underdog guy, underdog coach, underdog player. So I'm gonna go with Michigan State.
Okay, see, I love you already. I done high-fived you because I'm all Big Ten, baby. And one, I was in Indianapolis in 2000, Mateen Cleaves, Richardson, right?
Yes.
And them boys. Yes. And when we put it on Florida, right? And we put it on Florida and we got that national championship and it's 25 years removed. And Izzo, no, he doesn't have too many more opportunities. And I got Izzo in Florida in a rematch in the Final Four with Michigan State moving on. I do have Cooper Flag and Duke getting past Houston, but I love what Tom Izzo does when it comes down to crunch time. He gonna punch in the mouth, keep punching you, and we gonna go. So I love it. I gotta go Big Ten. We just won Ohio State football. I gotta go Big Ten, baby.
Y'all from the Midwest.
Midwest. That's right.
That Midwest blood, y'all Michigan State, man. What is it, y'all? All you guys that border on the lakes stick together.
Hey, man, that's how it is. Hey, look at Speller. Like, that's awesome. Hey, man, we cook it up like that, man. You be on Lake Michigan. Where you in the D, where you in Cleveland, or where you in the side, or Milwaukee.
Hey, we on Lake Erie. We over there on Lake Erie.
Yeah, we going to come downtown and still do it.
Don't be crying when they get eliminated the next round. Don't be crying when Michigan State out of that.
Hey, I'm going to talk. And the last question of the night everybody asked is, if you had to look at the entire encompass of the NBA since it started, who is the GOAT? Start with you, E.
I would, and let me justify why I'm going to say this.
Oh, here we go, man. Just give me your answer.
It is LeBron James, and let me tell you why.
Oh my God.
One reason.
Let me
watched Jordan play. Hey, Jordan was in my time. He's only 2 years older than me, all right? And I watched Jordan. I watched LeBron James can guard all 5 positions. End of story.
All right, go, Richard, real quick.
My thing is, I came up in the Michael Jordan era too. I was saying that my thing is there's a 1A and there's a 1B. But since this year started, it's all about LeBron.
Okay.
Because of longevity. Longevity, and him playing 40 and averaging 25, 8, and 8, to me, seals the deal. I don't care everybody talking about 6 rings and all like that.
No.
I ain't even talking about the rings. I love it. I'm a Jordan fan, not even from being from the Chi, but
Right.
who buying whose shoes? These kids don't even know about the shoes they getting right now, and they getting Jordan. Babies that ain't even born, they buying Jordan. Nobody buying LeBron. They buying Jordan because you know why?
Why?
Remember, he's from Chicago now. He's from Chicago. He's
Hey,
biased.
yeah, you gotta look at it. You gotta look at the basketball part of it.
He's not. He's biased. He's from Chicago. Okay.
Yeah, I look
And
at
he's like my son-in-law. My son-in-law argues with me every night about LeBron and Michael. It's ridiculous the way he likes this, man. But just because this boy's 40 and he's playing at a high level, to me, that seals the deal. I can't fault nobody for that.
Well, put it like this: LeBron is a bigger Michael Jordan. That's what I look at. He's a bigger Jordan.
Yeah, body-wise and all those, but Jordan never had that type of power and all like that.
He couldn't. Hey, Jordan could guard the little point guard. I mean, LeBron guarded the little point guard, and he can guard Wilt Chamberlain, right?
Yeah, well, he did guard Joker in the Olympics, and he guarded him well.
Of course he did. That's what I'm saying. So there it is. So we got nothing to talk about. Yep.
How you doing?
How you coaches doing? I'm seeing and realizing that our coach got caught up. I guess his signal or something went off. But I'm so.
If it's more time, me and Newsome could kick it. We don't need Tony.
See? What was that?
I said we don't need Tony. You know, we stars in our own right. I've been on TV a lot. Newsome been on TV a lot. We'll just kick it. We'll sing and dance if we had to.
I know, and I guess you guys were kind of talking about, and this is the enemy of words. He says the final question: who is the greatest of all time? And who you
Both
all?
of us said LeBron James, even though my son-in-law is going to be mad at me.
Yeah, I'd have to go with LeBron, and LeBron. For basketball reasons, not because of advertising and hype and all that. I'm going on just strictly basketball, and a lot of people don't do that. And so that's why, once again, he can guard the point guard, the 2 guard, the small forward, the power forward, and the center. Find me somebody that can do that, then we can talk about who to go.
And can play him.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think.
So do you have any response? Do you have any rebuttal to that?
The rebuttal I'm going to always have is it's going to be Michael Jordan for me.
Yeah, but why? Why do you say that? What's your basis for that?
My basis for having Michael Jordan be the GOAT is number one, because of how he was able to, number one, command. He stayed with his basketball career. I think he stayed with one team.
He played with 2. He went to Washington, but that doesn't
count.
To do with the basketball. Let's talk basketball, not the auxiliary stuff. Let's talk.
Okay. Well, if we're gonna stick strictly to the basketball, then the person playing with a fever and scoring 50 points, that to me screams, perseverance. You are pushing through, and you could sit somewhere, because a lot of the players that are out. I know you guys are shaking your heads, but I'm thinking,
I'm getting crazy with you. I want to reach in that phone and strangle you.
But what about the ability to guard all 5 positions on the floor? I need you to answer that.
He wasn't able to do that, I'm assuming.
Well, he's 40.
No, Michael Jordan could not guard a center and a power forward. No, he could not.
He could not. Okay.
But LeBron James can guard the center and the power forward and the point guard.
And he's the eldest. Is he the eldest playing player that's in the NBA right now?
Averaging 25, 8, and 8.
He's the oldest player to still be a superstar. By 38, everybody started declining. He's averaging 25, 8, and 8, and he's 40. That seals the deal for me.
That's unheard of. That's unheard of.
I know. So all I know is, and as I get Tony back in here, because I'm
my
getting
phone's
grilled
kicked
over
out.
here. They're like,
ain't get grilled.
they're talking about it's only LeBron James. Don't talk about the auxiliary stuff. Talk about how he is as a player. And I'm like,
I'm
oh
talking
my
about the player.
gosh,
Hey,
really? We're doing
hey, we got to bring y'all back, man. This is what I love, man. But listen, I appreciate you too, you guys. Rich, I appreciate you staying up tonight. And man, it's just great to be connected, and we're gonna do some big things, man. And I appreciate it. Val, you have anything for our guests before we get out of here?
No, I stand corrected. They said it's LeBron James. I'm thinking,
No,
okay.
it ain't LeBron. We're gonna carry this. We're gonna carry this on and on and on.
Coach,
we already know.
Coach Tony, you're a coach. Talk about the 5 positions he could guard.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just saying. At the end of the day, on Jordan, okay, we're gonna bring this back because LeBron right now, there's no hand checking. If Mike played in this area with no hand checking, Mike was scoring 60 a game. And you're talking about the positions. He played multiple positions on that.
No,
but who's gonna stop?
Could he guard multiple? Could he guard 1 through 5? That's what I'm saying.
And multiple people guard him.
No, multiple people couldn't guard Mike. Multiple people couldn't guard Mike.
Right, but could Mike guard 1 through 5?
Mike probably couldn't guard 1 through 5, but he could possibly guard 1 through 4.
Look at her over there. No, he couldn't guard Karl Malone. He couldn't guard Karl Malone.
Oh, he was gonna beat Karl Malone ass up. He was gonna guard Karl Malone.
He didn't have to wait. He didn't have to wait.
I know he had to wait, but I'm just back in the day, the fouls were going. Dick Bavella was gonna let them fouls go. You know that.
Dennis
Rodman, but I'm saying Karl Malone would have posted him too much power.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I'm giving you, but LeBron was gonna cry back in the day. LeBron couldn't took them hits. LeBron couldn't took them hits. Man, Bill. Hey, look. Once he come through the lane in Boston, and Kevin McHale put him down one time. Once he go to Detroit in the Superdome, and Bill Lambert put him down one time. LeBron ain't come to the lane like that no more.
But LeBron is big enough to put a hurting on you when he come through there.
I get to you. But once he hit that flow one time, and Mike already said it, when he hit the flow too many times, he learned how to shoot them jumpers.
Right.
LeBron is too strong, Tony. He's too strong.
He is.
He's strong.
Hey, my coach Justin gonna love y'all because he a big LeBron fan. Oh my God.
No, hey, I'm a big Jordan fan too. Believe me. But
I'm a Jordan fan
I'm
too.
A huge fan. But I'm talking from the.
Oh, Speller just told me, MJ, Rob, you cut off, man. You can't come to the crib.
I thought you were from the Shy, Robert.
He is
Robert from the Shy. What happened to the?
Man, oh my God.
No.
Hey, Val, you know how they is. Hey, Rob, back in the day, you was false flagging. You already know what we talking about.
Terrible.
Hey, listen, we're going to have you guys back on because I want to know a little bit about the show when we finish sending these guys overseas. But we're going to get out of here. Before we get out of here, we got a little closing messages. For those that want to know a little bit more in terms of recruiting, make sure you dial into The Rise at www.therise.com, where we can show you how to make sure that you get the best opportunity of getting brands and getting paid while you're a college athlete. Tomorrow night, as you guys want to kick back in with us, we always come together and we get off the sports side of the house on Monday, and Val and I get together on Tuesday night for Interludes Talk on Tuesday, focusing on music and entertainment. And tomorrow night, Val, who do we got?
Well, we have returning with a singer and songwriter, Janita Burke out of Bermuda. That's the country Bermuda, not any other city in the U.S. And she's known professionally as JB Psalm. She has released not 1, not 2, but 4 singles celebrating Women's International Month or History's Month. It is JB Psalm. So we're very happy to have her coming back. And Coach wants to do a house music track. I don't know, Coach Laurel and Coach Newsome. Do you think that Tony could do a house music track with?
Man, I'm
with
about to put it together, fellas.
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm gonna. A matter of fact, you're gonna be in my market, Rich. Because time I put it together, I'm sending it to Italy because everything bounces international before it come back. I'm gonna give it to you, baby.
It ain't
I'm gonna tell you, in the name of the track, gonna be my man's in there. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna send it to you. Hey, listen.
And of course.
And by the way, Val wrote a book and let her, this book called The DJ Saved My Life. That's where I got that from.
The DJ Saved My Life. Okay, now that's good.
That's the name of the book. And during the
Wasn't that a song back in the day?
Yeah, last night the DJ saved my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, indeed. Yeah, you already know about that.
Come on now.
That was a nice beat too.
That was a nice
It was.
beat.
Oh, I was up on the floor doing my thing, boy.
Hey, Rich and Val took the hook and made a book out of it. Ain't that wild?
I see that. Dang.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
So Newsome DJ in college. He was DJing in college around there.
And I'm still DJing right now. Newsome, we got to talk about that because I'm still throwing house music on track, baby. Hey, Spella tell you about it. I'm still throwing that deep house music, man. Chi-Town, man. We do it hard. Yes, sir. You know, but listen, we appreciate you guys, man, for making it in tonight. It's been awesome. This has been funny. I love it. This is the type of guest, Val, I gotta have. I gotta have the people that they say keep it real. Like Martin used to say, we got to keep it real on the show, man. And E, I love what you're doing down there. Rich, you know we're gonna stay in contact. We're gonna do some things. I'm looking forward to it. But before we get out of here, put them peace signs up, because there's one word I gotta tell everybody. I'm out and peace.
All right.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show.